All right. All right, Bemis, I'm ready whenever you are. Sorry about all the clutter in the background. Usually we're in a nice studio. Now we're just doing it from home. So
Yes, we're doing it the new way of doing things, right? So, Sons of the Flag Radio is brought to you by Fire Engineering Blog Talk Radio. I think it's important that every time we do one of these intros, we do a quick overview of what Sons of the Flag is. So, if you're tuning in, listening, you have a better understanding of who we are. Sons of the Flag was founded in 2012 to show support for one burn survivor. Sons of the Flag has now evolved into a nonprofit organization that's fully committed to revolutionizing burn care for veterans, first responders, and civilian burn survivors by providing funding for innovative research fellowship for doctors to further their training in treating additional burn survivors as we go forward, and also showing support for those who have been impacted by a traumatic burn. Sons of the Flag is at the forefront of advancing burn technologies and advancements through surgical procedures, and we continually do address needs for every age group, ethnicity, and geographic location within the United States. So, to that end, Sons of the Flag brings together pioneering physicians who are leaders in their field, experienced military service members, dedicated first responders, passionate civilians, and burn survivors that will help us complete this mission. So, over the last 10 years, we're on year 12
Yes,
right
sir.
now? Yeah, because it's 2024, if you do
Yep.
the simple math. So Sons of the Flag is we've also partnered with prominent burn units throughout the country, including UT Southwestern and Parkland Hospital right here in Dallas, Texas, John Hopkins Burn Center in Baltimore, Maryland, the DuPont Children's Hospital in Wilmington, Delaware, the Brigham and Women's Hospital at Harvard University in Boston, the Legacy Oregon Burn Center in Portland, and the University of South Florida Tampa General Burn Unit, Bay Pines, Florida, VA, and the Brooke Army Medical Center in San Antonio. We communicate with doctors, nurses, social workers, and child life specialists who request on behalf of their patients varies for whatever request they have on behalf of their patients to each burn survivor situation. So, with that being said, that's Sons of the Flag. And so, as we start every one of our episodes off, we read the names of the fallen since our last show, but also pausing for our fellow law enforcement and military veterans that we've lost during that time too. So, Jeffrey Skaggs, Ralph Stigbauer, Richard Miller, Lamont Killian Jr., Charles Gallant, Robert Wysong, and Ryan Pleasance. The unfortunate thing, that's the list for the end of the year, including one that's already occurred this year so far. So,
well, I think that's the shortest list we've ever had.
yeah, I mean, thankfully, it is that short, and so it'd be nice to see that list continue to get smaller and smaller. But it's the fire service, and this is part of the job, unfortunately. But our thoughts, prayers go out to every single person that was ever affected, their families, those that were affected, their crews, all that. But tonight, we have an awesome show. Again, Sherry pulling her magic, Bird pulling his magic, just bringing some of the greatest people into Sons of the Flag and kind of letting the world know who we are from a different point of view, right? You hear me and Landon talk about it all the time, but I think it's important that we get to hear from people of a different perspective. And Ace Lane is heavily involved with Sons of the Flag. You've known Bird for how long?
I think since 2011 or 2012.
All right, yeah. So seriously, since
Brad, since its
before the
inception.
Yeah.
No,
So
he and I. Go ahead. Sorry.
No. So we got a little, I think, the delay on my
You got a
end.
little delay, yeah.
No, I think it's fantastic. I mean, you've seen Sons of the Flag grow from a viewpoint that most of us have not. I joined around 2017, and I've seen what it was at the time to where we're at now. And so I think it's awesome for people to kind of hear it from you, your story, and how you've gotten tied into Sons of the Flag, and kind of what you've seen change, and what do you want to see Sons continue to do in the future.
And so
Ace,
our guest,
welcome.
Ace Lane.
Yeah.
So, not really sure. Do you want me to sum up my experience with?
Tell us about your first meeting Bird, and then first learning about Sons of the Flag, and kind of the relationship going from there.
Okay, well, there's a guy I work with in Texas, and I took him on a mountain bike ride here in Colorado where I live, and he said, "I think I have someone that you guys would really connect." And he briefly talked about the Birdman, which is funny because my youngest son is also called the Birdman. So I call Ryan the other Birdman. I go, "You can't be the first one." So, and my youngest is he's a very competitive ski racer. He's over in Europe right now, so he's the Birdman over there. But so anyways, my friend organized a meeting at DIA, so I flew to DIA, Denver International Airport, and Ryan the Birdman flew there. We met at a restaurant at the airport, and within 5 minutes I felt like I knew him my whole life. So it was pretty, and it's been the same ever since. Never anything different. He knows he could call me at a moment's notice. I'd be there. I know the same about him. So very few people I know that have that kind of sense of honor. So it's something we need in our society, and he definitely is a man that demonstrates that.
Yeah. Well, and you have when he decided to start this burn organization, you have a unique perspective on that. Tell us about your injury and kind of how that came about.
I'll try and sum up. How much do you want me to sum up?
The floor is open for you, sir.
Well, I was raised in a family that had a lot of ranching and farming background, and I was the youngest of 6 by a long shot. So my brothers and sisters were way ahead of me. I think I was a spaghetti dinner deep in the marriage. So, anyways, so my brothers and stuff were putting in fence posts, and me as a 7-year-old, I guess is probably when I started. So I got into a welding accident when I was pretty young, when I was 11, and I was a pretty good football player. I went to a school at that point which was sort of ahead of the curve on how they prepared football players. So they started us like in 2nd grade. So anyways, I got pretty severe burn. So I'm heading into my 60th surgery here in about 4 days. Not all of them are burn related, most of them. Anyways, so on that path, which I can say this, I have a life filled with grace. A lot of amazing people have gone out of their way for me and helped and supported me. So when I first got injured, football was done, and then but I couldn't let go of it. So the next year I came back after many surgeries, and I was pretty vulnerable. I was pretty scarred up, and I wore a hat everywhere because I was embarrassed for how I looked. And the first year I came back to football, the coaches were amazing to me, and they were pretty tough coaches. They usually pounded people, but for some reason they were pretty kind to me. Anyways, before the fire and after the fire, even more so. So my first year back, it was terrible. I had no confidence. I was skinny. I couldn't do shit. And then my 2nd year back, I threw away that hat. I said goodbye. And sorry about this.
Oh, you're good, brother.
So my 2nd year back, it was a different year. I got my shit together. I was still light and skinny. I was just fast, and the coaches were supportive, so I brought it. And I had been a quarterback, but because my left hand had been so injured, they switched me to both sides of the ball, running back and linebacker. And then by my 8th grade year, I was captain of the team, and our coaching staff was always winning. Not because we were the best coached. And so I was captain of the team. And that year I was also put on the high school varsity team. And I was only like 109 pounds. I was little.
Oh, wow.
I was just fast. So anyways, I went on from there. I loved ski racing. And so I focused my passion on that. And after 18 years of competing, my last 9 years was on the pro tour. I won a pro tour, and that was like a super big highlight. And there was a lot of work and recovery and, you know, surgeries and working out and a lot of spiritual growth, and came down to the last day, the last run. I ended up winning. It's pretty awesome. From there, I happened to graduate college, which was pretty amazing. And then I designed and built a water ski lake after I retired from ski racing, and that turned out to be successful. Seemed kind of scary going into it. Didn't know what I was getting into, but it felt like a good idea. Anyways, so we sell memberships on the lake, and we've been sold out for many years, and we've held triathlons there to benefit Sons of the Flag, and we've raised a fair amount of money. Then we had some forest fires come through, and so we've been stalled on doing those since then. And I have 3 awesome sons who are my heroes, and I have a good life. I have a great puppy dog. I have a good girlfriend, and I love where I live and get to meet cool guys like you guys.
Hell
and
yeah.
I have some great friends.
That's phenomenal.
Listening to your story, you know, I think you're the true definition of what resiliency is, right? And I think that's hearing that story takes me back to Shay's story, right? And just overcoming an extreme adversity, and you know,
It's such a young age too, like, and having to shift your perspective so quickly. I mean, we work with so many young kids who have been burned, and for them to be able to kind of look at this and say, you know, somebody else did it. And I know I can at the same time.
But the thing is, what I love is, I mean, you went to school the first year with the hat on, and the second year you took it off. And that's like, to me, it's telling me this is me. This is my new coming. I'm here. Stop me. and I think that's, I mean, when I hear your voice talk about it, I can hear the emotion in your voice, and I think that just speaks volumes. Because even if you're not you never were burned, right? We're thinking about also families, right? We're looking at everybody in society. I think you nailed it perfectly too. You know, the way that you and Burb had that type of relationship, that we got to have that camaraderie back in society. We've got to be loving each other and taking care of each other. And I think that's extremely important. But we've also got to respect other people, right? When we deal with these types of incidents, you know, these types of events, it's extremely life-changing for this group of individuals. And so as a society, we've got to learn to adapt and welcome them in, because it takes a tribe to make everything happen. You know, if we start doing this thing on an individualistic type level, then we're going to keep seeing some of these kids not progressing in society. We're going to see people continue to regress through their therapies and whatnot. But having a mindset that I'm going to take the hat off, I think that just speaks volumes. And I mean, I think that's how you could define yourself. I took my hat off. Here I am.
Super liberating. As soon as I took it off, I was just so happy to not be hiding underneath that anymore.
Yeah,
and then just me, I just charged ahead. There was obviously a lot of challenges and weird shit that went on, but I mean, that's a whole nother story. So, but you know, I have this great life. So,
well, it's when you have a surgery coming up. When was your last surgery that involved for the burns?
That was with Dr. Lon, who's with Sons of the Flag in Florida, in Tampa, and that was my most recent one. That was in October, and so that was a full thickness graft on my neck. I keep, it's just been like this. It's been a process because I've outgrown it and I expand it, and obviously, yeah. So I need to kind of keep moving with it, and that surgery happened to be very successful. The next one, I go to California. It's not a Sons of the Flag. It's related to the burns, and that this. And I'm not trying to like boohoo ace. I'm just, this is, I've had a very active life athletically,
Yeah.
and the scar tissue is pulled on my neck hard. I've also had some pretty bad crashes, but I lost quite a number of discs in my neck. So this next surgery will be disc replacement surgery in California, and it's related to crashes and also the scar tissue pulling so hard on my neck and me, fighting it to do what I do.
You're bringing up a great point, and we've talked about this with other survivors that we've encountered. Is that the initial burn itself, right? The recovery period is one thing, but you have a prolonged life of things that are going to be happening. Like you were saying, you got to continue to grow with the scar tissue. It's going to keep causing issues, and we're going to have to continue the process to keep making life the quality of life for everybody fantastic. And just it's a continuing process. Just because we get everything corrected in the short time, there's a long-term process that have got to be invested in. And I think that's one thing that it's hard for, I think, the common public to understand, is that there's now a lifetime of things that are going to continue to occur. It's not just this one-stop shop that we're here, Sons of the Flag and other great organizations that are out there that are going to be fully invested in making sure that you guys that have gone through these traumatic experiences are getting the quality care to get back to that quality of life that you strive for. And I think that's a part of burns that's truly overlooked. And it's unfortunate because there is a long-term effect that most people are not aware of. So um, when you were initially burned, you said it was a welding accident, correct?
Yeah.
What was your initial burn percentage? Do you remember?
Yeah, it was 40% was third degree. Can't remember what percentage was second degree. And then some of it was worse than that because I lost some ligaments in my left hand.
Okay.
And yeah, I've had a number of surgeries on my hand, and my hand works great. I can't open it all the way.
Right.
Actually caused a lot of horse collar tackles when I played football.
Right. You're the reason they have the penalty now.
Yeah, I know. My dad thought it was cool. He gave me this nickname, the headhunter. He was not one to hand out compliments, but I remember that one pretty
That's
well.
awesome. When you were talking about your football coaches, I saw it get kind of emotional, and you talked about the impact that they had. Do you have a specific coach that truly had an impact on your recovery process?
I don't know about the recovery process, but he always saw me for me, and I was always willing to, before I got injured as well.
Yeah.
I had rheumatic fever, but like when I was 6, I missed a year of school because of that as well. But that was like, that was like a bowl of cereal compared to this other stuff. But so he I don't know, he sort of picked me out, and he was one of those old school coaches. I think he was a professional athlete himself, and he was a hard ass, and he would just work kids over. But for me, he was always like, showing me up. And when I came back, he knew he had to have known I was scared. So he had all the teams kneel down and fuck. And welcome me back. And he just talked about my character. Meant a lot.
Yeah.
Can't even imagine.
I'm picturing, I've got, goosebumps right now just thinking
Yeah.
about that, because
And as a
at
young man,
young age.
to have to step into that role and take that on, and to have someone support and kind of acknowledge that that's one, thank you for opening up about that. That's truly incredible. And I mean, again, it's, we talk about being able to kind of forge a path for the burn survivors that we're going to meet down the road, and how we can get them to a place of normalcy. Bird's big thing, especially with Tampa surgery, is that, we can't fix everything, but we want to get you back to a state of being able to do something with your life and being able to, be somebody. And it takes a village sometimes, and it's really humbling, and it's a blessing to hear that, you had that kind of village behind you, and what more of a village than a football team, right?
No, it was to have him stop practice, which was not his MO at all, and have everybody kneel down and introduce me back. And like I said, I had a shitty year, but the next year I came back. But he was always bringing me up and using me as an example. And it carried on to my other coaches too, my lacrosse coaches, my ski coaches. They all, they seemed to see me. And so for a guy that didn't feel good about how he looked for quite a while, it was good to be seen by these high-end coaches. And when they brought me to some pretty high level athletics, helped me demonstrate. And so they were super supportive. My teammates were also great. It was amazing. I don't know how much depth you guys want.
I'm loving this.
We love to be able to show, again, it's such a great message, not just for the firefighters, but for, the people that we work with, being able to point them at somebody like yourself who can talk about these things and what they've come through.
Well, so I during high school and before, you'd have these away games, and you'd have it was gang showers, right? And I just was too embarrassed to have anybody see my scars. I wouldn't do it. Right. I hardly even looked at them. I tried to just not even look in the mirror for a long time. I just tried to charge ahead. Anyways, we'd go to away games, we'd be all muddy and grass, and I would just never take a shower. But not once did a teammate or a coach ever say a word to me. Like, hey, Ace, like, why weren't you showering, dude? What the fuck's up with that, you dirty motherfucker?
Yeah.
we were constantly giving each other so much shit. It was a constant shit. I mean, talk about a shit show, but this was a fun shit show. It was giving each other a lot of shit. But when it came to that, they were all quiet.
Yeah. So,
that's a certain type of understanding that I don't think really many people come across at all.
No, that was a lot of grace. Then in college, I just was like, fuck this. I don't care what people see or think,
No. Yeah.
And I think, sometimes people would give me shit about it, and I could get aggressive. But I never was in a fight that didn't have a referee.
All for the best.
No, so, I just every time I just keep listening to you speak, and I listen to you, and as I'm hearing you talk, I'm going back to my son, who's 8, he'll be 9 this year, and I'm just sitting there thinking about how, you know, if this were to happen to him, or if he were to have a friend that would ever encounter this, and I'd pray to God that they would show the grace and love that I think that you felt going through this most difficult point of your life. And man, I wish I could figure out who your coach was and your teammates were, because
What an example
that
to
that
set.
that's life changing stuff, because they gave you an option. You know, they either could build you up or they could tear
Yeah.
you down.
And let's not mince words. Kids can be cruel.
Oh, kids are
No,
assholes.
yeah, there was
I was
definitely
trying to be nice, but
no, there was
no.
some definitely there's definitely some very tough shit in that area. Hence the hat. And but then, you know, getting rid of the hat, which is pretty symbolic, I guess.
yeah.
Super liberating. But
Dude, yeah.
you know, it carried a host of challenges. But you know, there's so many people that have so much more. My life is like cheesecake compared to a lot of people's lives, and I know that. So,
Yeah.
and
But you also built that, and in spite of all the difficulties, and that's such an awesome thing to see, you know. And you know, he brought up Shay, and you know, Shay having his burns, and then becoming, you know, doing the triathlons, and just all this crazy stuff around the world. And it's truly, you know, every time we speak to a burn survivor who's overcome so much, you know, Bemis and I tell them how inspiring it is, and they have a tendency of being like, it's not that inspiring, but it truly is. And from our perspective, and I think from a lot of people's perspective as well.
well, I think my middle son, worked with Shay on Birdman's last project when they went around the world.
Yeah.
And so he got to be friends with Shay, and Shay actually got in contact with me and helped me understand more about, I think, Dr. Lawn and a full thickness graft, and it's what helped me along in that last surgery. So
Oh, that's great.
been great having my boys get to know the Birdman, and just having that connection. And my son, who's probably one of the better slalom skiers in the world, had 7 knee surgeries, so he's not doing that anymore. So he helps the Birdman a little bit with his projects, and he's studying to become a pilot.
Oh, wow.
Awesome.
Yeah, Todd Hornbuckle will be a great person to talk to there.
Yeah.
Todd Hornbuckle was is a pilot for Delta, if I'm not mistaken, but he was in
got reinstated.
Yeah, just got reinstated. He was in a plane crash, unfortunately, and he was burned. He protecting his daughter.
I talked to him.
Yeah, and he would be a great source to talk to.
Yeah, he's a great guy.
Yeah, he spoke at our one of our events, and man, you want to talk about a guy with a knockout sense of humor and just like the vibrance about him. It's pretty incredible.
But you know, it's great that we're talking about Todd real quick also, because hearing your story, you, Shay, and Todd all have something in common, and that is overcoming every damn obstacle laid before you. And you guys were at the peak in your prime, and you were hell-bent and set on playing football, and then you became a professional skier. You said downhill skier is what you were? A racer?
Yeah.
And then you have Todd, great U2 pilot, and then Delta pilot, being reinstated, not giving up his dreams. And you have Shay, world-renowned triathlon champion. I mean, I don't know what 15 triathlons or whatever he's at now. I forgot what the number was. But like hearing those messages, and then hearing where you went from as a young kid, and that resiliency kicked in, you ended up becoming a very successful downhill skier. And I think that's huge. It echoes the same message that everybody needs to continue to hear. Like, it's not done. It's not done. There are great things ahead of you. You've got to push through. You got to work your ass off. It's going to be so damn hard. But that's what I love about this organization, and what I love about Bird. We have the resources in place that we're going to push you across that finish line. We're not going to stop. And I think hearing y'all's messages really reiterates that all of us here at Sons of the Flag, we're going to push you across. We're working with you on this all the way through. And I I don't know. I feel like I haven't done a damn thing when I hear all you guys talk. I feel so,
Yeah, yeah.
No, that's
I
not true at all.
yeah,
Oh,
I
everybody's
love it. So
everybody's life has challenges.
it does, man, and you know, like you said it earlier, everybody's challenges are different. You don't know the backstories half the time, but everybody's got some sort of challenge or some sort of obstacle that they got to overcome. But let's talk about. I'm interested in hearing the skiing. You know, I want to hear a little bit more about the professional side of your skiing career. And, you know, the successes you achieved with that, especially, you know, being a burn survivor and overcoming those obstacles. I think that's a huge thing uh, to really talk about because, you know, like Zach learned to shoot a gun uh,
Yeah.
last year or the year before. And, you know,
And he's
I
beating
think
people.
hearing these types of stories is absolutely amazing.
Well, so we were living in Chicago at the time. Um, and we came out to Colorado to go on a ski vacation, and I just fell in love with it when I was like 6 years old. But of course, there wasn't much skiing to be done in Chicago area, so I just
Yeah.
looked all summer, and so anyways, um, I think I was 13. So a couple of years after my injury, um, I went to the ski racing camp in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, because I really wanted to ski race, and I never had. I didn't know anything about it, and the camp was filled with all these. I think kids like probably 12 to 25. And a lot of high level skiers, and I was certainly very. I was very embarrassed because my first year there, they had 6 groups. And, the first group was the best. The sixth group was, you know, the worst. So they put me in the 6th group. I was bummed. Plus,
Yeah.
I was healing and going through my stuff, and this was really a big dream of mine. So um, I went home.
Now,
Just
hey, were
found.
those predetermined spots or are they
Sorry.
based upon? Okay.
No, they evaluated your skiing
Okay.
in a race course, which I think I'd only been in like maybe 2 or 3 times, and
Okay.
all the other athletes and kids that were there, they were from Colorado or somewhere, and they were ski racers. I just wanted to be one. So, anyways, I went home and I just thought about ski racing all the time. I'd be in math class and I'd just be drifting off thinking about running gates, and I just was in love with it. So that winter, we went on another ski vacation for like probably a week and a half, but no gates, no training, no coaching, nothing. And so the next summer, I went back to the same camp, Pepe Stiegler's racing camp, pretty famous ski racer from Austria. And so I I was they evaluated me again. I was in the #1 group, so I got this award, and it was because I was thinking about it. I wasn't actually doing it. I was thinking about it.
Yeah.
I was just thinking about how that turn would feel and what I had to do to get there, and all the things that I had learned by absolutely sucking the first year I was there. And so then it sort of took off from there. And then I try to sum this up. I pushed it really hard. I think I started to work too hard, and I sort of lost some of the joy for it. And I decided, you know what, I'm just going to ski for a college and get a degree and take it easy. And I had a big spiritual shift, um, and so I stopped working as hard, and all of a sudden it got fun again. And all these guys that were kicking my ass, all of a sudden I was faster than they were. And then after that, I jumped on the pro tour, and it seemed to fit my personality. So I think the first year on the Canadian tour, I think I had a ranking of 600. Then my second year, I was 13th.
Oh my God.
Jeez.
And then then my fourth year, no, it was in '87. I won. How many years into it was I? I guess it was my fifth year. Um, yeah, I won a pro tour. It was 9 combined races, and that was a big deal for me. So, and then I kept competing after that, and I got married during that period as well, and I also graduated from college, which was kind of amazing. I was a good student at the things I liked.
Yeah.
I was a business major, but all my worst grades were in business, and all my A's were in physics and art. So so
Yeah. That's why it
Two
took
good
me
topics
7
in
years
here.
to get my bachelor's.
yeah, it took me a while to get my degree.
Well, Ace, we're coming to the end of it, and we always like to hear not only these stories, but if you could say something to a newly burned individual that's just beginning their journey and is looking for some optimism and just it's some sort of something to hold on to, what would you say to them? What's something that advice that you could give them?
Keep track of the big picture and let love guide you.
I love that. Keep track of the big picture and let love guide you. And that's an incredible message to send to them. And our job, like Bemis says, is to get with those burn survivors and to share messages like yours and to keep them going and to help them find their new normal.
Hey,
Cool.
before we have to go, I do have one question. What's next for you, Ace? Like, your story has been just so phenomenal. What's next for you? What do you want to achieve next?
I've been designing sustainable communities, and there's one I've been designing, and it's just coming to. You can, if you're interested, you can look it up online. It's called The Tree Farm, and it's a project just outside of Aspen, Colorado, and we're going to be finishing going vertical on that probably in about a year, and it's designed around a ski lake. So it's designed around joy, and it's a different kind of sustainable. And there's a lot of there's all the other sustainables that everyone talks about, but then there's the ones that they don't talk about, and that's joy. And so this community is built around what I like to call the social green, which is having fun, having people active, having people doing things, demonstrating, and finding out what they can do, and pushing it, and finding out how much more that they can do than they had ever thought. And so that's the triathlons that we've had here, and the motocross events, and we have a lot of winter rally events, race car driving. Hopefully we're having a big Porsche event here in about 3 weeks. It looks like it's going to happen. So they're bringing 50 cars out, and we built a big track for them to compete on and show their cars. And yeah, so that's kind of what I'm doing right now. I'm pretty exhausted from it, so I think
That sounds like a big undertaking.
Yeah, it's bigger than I ever thought. So maybe something more along the lines of that, but I have a bigger support team to help me pull it off. But right now I got to finish this one.
So thetreefarm.com. So if people want to check it out, they can go in there, log on, and check it out there. Awesome. Man,
rock and roll.
Yeah, we're closing on the time. I personally can't thank you enough.
Absolutely.
Your story, it's hit hard, and man, I'm amazed to even be sitting here talking with you. It's I mean, and I'm being serious about this. Your story is it's life changing, and I can't thank you enough. I know some of the deeper, hurt is still there. I shouldn't say hurt. The deeper emotions are still there. And I just can't thank you enough for opening up your heart and telling the world who Ace really is. And I think that speaks volumes of you. And me personally, I wish you nothing but the greatest success going forward, because I don't know what else the hell you have left to do, man. You've accomplished a lot. So
Well,
it's unbelievable to hear you, man.
thanks to you guys for listening, and I've had so much support from spiritual and friends and people and coaches, dogs. um,
Yeah.
and so yeah, I'm grateful to all of them, and grateful that you guys want to listen and see stuff, and I hope it's helpful to others. And there's, like I said earlier, there's certainly so many people that have been through so much worse shit. So I consider my life full of grace.
You need to write a book, is what you need to do.
Hell yeah.
I'm telling you, you could
and we'll have you on again for that
people.
one.
Yeah.
Well, Ace, thank you so much for joining us, brother. We really appreciate it. We're going to be throwing this up on fireengineering.com, and we certainly look forward to seeing and talking to you again.
Hey, thanks, you guys.
Yeah,
Thank
you
you,
can
brother.
find this episode and everything else on Sons of the Flag. Any of our social media at Sons of the Flag, sonsoftheflag.org. Go look up there, burn information. God, thanks.
Thanks.
This has been good. So I truly, bottom of my heart, thank you so much for joining us, man.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for listening and going out and helping so many other people.
Absolutely.
Hell yeah, we're not going to stop.
Yeah, good for you.
Rock and roll.
We'll charge on.
Thank
See
you, brother.
All right, see you guys. Bye-bye.
Bye. Man,
dang, man, that got intense.
I'm telling you, dude, that hit me. I'm thankful I have glasses on so you can't see my real eyes. But
I'm gonna have to put some light in here because notice I got a little dark there. But that's I went ahead and I didn't plan on purchasing that Zoom deal, but once he started getting into his story, I was like, screw it, I'm gonna spend the extra $16 because I want to hear what he had to say. And that's
I'm telling you,
it's interesting to see how, even with everything that he's overcome, there's certain things that are still fresh whenever he talks about, and I think that type of vulnerability really shows when others look at this. It shows, there are going to be seeds of that still there, but the overcoming side of it is so fucking awesome. That's so damn cool, man.
It's so funny, man. And I know we're trying to wrap this up, but I hear his story, and I think about when he was at that age going to play football. What do you say, around 11?
Mm-hmm.
And I remember the football coaches that I encountered. I thought they were making my life hell.
Yeah,
and they weren't. They were building you up, and the fact that he noticed that through his coach speaks. I mean, I wish I could meet this guy. Like, I swear to God, I wish.
Yeah,
I
I know, right? Yeah, I was thinking the exact same thing.
I just want to shake your hand and say thank you.
Yeah.
Because you molded an extremely amazing individual.
Yeah.
Because you saw something greater. And anybody in the fire service right now, like, this is a leadership 101. Like, this is what we have to live by. You have to have that impact on everybody you encounter, right? Here at Sons of the Flag, anytime we encounter a burn patient, they need to feel that type of connection, that type of love. And we make sure that you get that. Through the fire service, through whatever your profession may be, you've got to show that kind of compassion and respect. It might be coming off as being a hard ass, right? But the message has to be clear and concise that I care for you, I truly do love you, and I'm going to give you what's best for you. And
there's those moments to be the hard ass, and then there's moments to be the vulnerable and to be the open and to recognize that people are going through certain things. It kind of reminded me of Don, talking about joining the military at 17 years old. And, he was like, I thought they hated me, but they were really just trying to save my life. They didn't want to see me die. And, in a lot of ways, whenever you're joining a sports team like that, they don't want to see you fail. They got to be on top of you. They can't let you break. But at the same time, there's those individuals who want to look out for you and can understand what you're going through at the same time as building you up, breaking you down and building you up.
Yep. No, I think that's the whole purpose of when you go to boot camp is for that. They're not there to they're there to be jerks, don't get me wrong, but they're there to break you down. You
I
know,
was about
just
to
like
say,
the
have you ever
fire,
met Mitch?
yeah, just like the fire academy, right? I mean, everybody's like, all right, this guy's a hard ass, this company officer's a hard ass, this battalion chief's a hard ass. There's a vested interest there. Talking about the coaches, it was so funny because the guy that I thought was the biggest jerk, I just instructed one of his courses, and he's now in the fire service. He's been in the fire service for several years, but he's getting a certification. And I'm like, I know you. And we made that connection. And I'm like, it's come full circle because it wasn't ever out to get me. His whole job at the whole time was to build me up to be better. And he's got me into the fire service. He's got me where I'm at now. And it's just so cool to see these types of stories come to fruition.
Yeah. Hell
Just
yeah.
to see the overall success. I'm telling you, he has got to write a book.
Yes.
Taking the hat off is what I'm calling the title right now.
Taking the hat off.
Taking the hat off. And I just, golly, man, that was,
Yeah. What a metaphor and description just for overcoming a challenge.
yeah.
Golly.
And now he's building a community.
And now he's building a community.
I mean,
that's so cool.
so like, what's left to do?
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
God love Ace, man. This dude, it's like, I'm bored. I'm going to find and I'll leave.
Brother, I've got to hit the road. We gotta go get my nephew. We're gonna spend the weekend with him.
Yes.
So Bemis, close us out. Everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for listening. Fire Engineering, as always, thank you for having us on.
Yeah, Fire Engineering Blog Talk Radio. Look us up on all social media by typing in @Sons of the Flag, sonsoftheflag.org if you want to get involved. Look for event info if you want to join the task force. Hit us up. We'll get you with Greg, Landon, or Sherry, myself. If you need a burn application, it's on there. Get the process started. Get a hold of Sherry. I'm telling you, we're going to change the world, and we have not stopped doing that. So
hell no, 12 years, baby.
12 years. So thank you guys from the bottom of my heart personally for allowing this platform to do what it does, allowing Ace's message to get out. And thank you again, Landon and Sherry, for having full faith and allowing this silly guy to.
Hey, man. I never want to do this without you. What are you talking about?
Yeah, no, thank you guys. I hope everyone has a great start to 2024. Look forward to the rest of the year with this show. As always, stay safe and always keep the mission first. Thank you, guys.
See y'all later.